I don't know if I can do it, but there's this volunteer program. This is completely opposite of you guys, but it's not. And it's volunteering because I want to go to Africa, and it's in Ghana. To work for a radio station, and my major is telecommunications, so I think I might do that, but I don't know if that's going to help me get a job here, though.
Certainly, any experience that you have will help you because of the network. And that's one thing that white society does that we're not real skilled at. You know, you'd be surprised how many major decisions are made on that golf course. Black folks don't golf, okay? It's a networking thing, and we're not skilled in doing that, in meeting people and donating our time. And everybody, and well, not everybody, I take that back, but a lot of people call me to be a part of different things because they know if it's something that I'm really genuinely interested in, I'll figure out a way to contribute. Whether it's my time or whether it's running copies or whether it's posting something, you know. And I'm involved in a lot of committees and boards, not only locally but throughout the state. And those things are important because people get to know you. They get to know your work ethic. They get to know your personality. So when it comes time to say, do you mind if I use your name as a reference? Give you an example. We had a little girl that started volunteering here when she was a junior or senior in high school. And she would just come in. She'd call me up. She'd say, Miss Phyllis, you need some help? I say, yeah, baby. And she'd say, well, I'm going to come in. I can't work for 2 weeks, but I'll come in. And she'd work 2 or 3 days each week. And then she went to Ball State, and during her summers, she would volunteer even after she got married and got pregnant. Because I used to tease, I said, girl, don't you have that baby here? And through that, when she applied for, well, she now works in the Fort Wayne Human Rights Office. She called and she said, do you mind if I use you as a reference? Well, she had volunteered. I mean, it wasn't like a every day or 20-hour a week, you know, but she'd always stipulate, I can work from such and such, or I can work, you know, because one year when she was going to school, most of her classes were in the morning. She came in 3 days a week in the afternoon because she could sit out there and answer the phone and talk to clients and do the initial paperwork and stuff. And in the interim, she could study. She could read her, you know. So it was a win-win situation for her. Okay? And now she graduated last spring. Because she's been in Fort Wayne since the fall. I think they moved up there during the summer, she and her husband. Because he got a job first. And they moved up there, I believe, over the summer. And she called me late in the summer, like August, to see if she could use me as a reference. And I said, well, sure. And she did, and the director there called me. And I said, yes. And, you know, I gave him the information about her that I thought was important. She got the job. So, I mean, and that's something that in our community we don't do a lot of, is volunteering and networking, and we need to be aware how that can be advantageous to us to do that. So, even though we don't golf, there's other ways. Tiger golfs. That's about it.
What do you think are the key issues in Muncie that for blacks in business?
The lack of black businesses.
Lack of black businesses.
That's a real easy question.
Because we've talked to a couple business owners, like Ed Faulkner, we've talked to the Reinhardts.
When you get outside, undertakers, to barbershops, hair salons, restaurants. That's it. You run the gamut. That's it. There are no boutiques. There are no little, like, I I don't know what you call them, card shops or, you know, stuff like that.
Like, I don't know this, but I know in Indianapolis, like, we even have, like, different clubs for, the children, I guess you could call them, like, in Indianapolis, we have different clubs and stuff that they could go to on the weekends, stuff like that. They don't have any of that, and those are owned by minorities.
There's not even a black bar in Muncie anymore. You know, there is absolutely, outside of church, there are no black social activities. Every now and again, that I know of, I'll put it like that, every now and again, but not on a regular basis, there may be some social activity at the Horizon Center. Yeah. Or, you know, maybe like somebody will have a fashion show or hair show or something like that. Or every now and again there will be something at the Debonair's Club.
So all the activities I participate in are on campus.
They aren't out in the community. And that is so strange to me because when I was a kid growing up there was things, but I guess too a lot of the stuff that we did, I don't know if the adults were more concerned with the development of the youth at that time, or I really don't know, but I remember we used to have dances, you know, and of course there was always skating.
Yeah, we had the skating rinks, we had, like, they'll rent out, like, they have the Horizon Convention Center here, they'll rent that out just and, like, host, you know, some small celebrity or something so the kids can come out and participate. There's none of that here.
Nothing. It has not been for years. They used to have dances at the Armory. Right there when I was a kid. You know, and I mean, wow, it'd be packed, and B.B. King, and I first saw Ike and Tina Turner right across the street, you know. James Brown, you know, some of those old rhythm and blues singers, they were all on the circuit, you know, when I was a teenager and a young adult. But there's nothing like that now.
I noticed that. There's like
there's nothing for the young kids to do, especially young adult kids. Yeah. You know, if it's not on campus or connected to some kind of activity on campus, it's absent.
That's what I was looking
at. It's absent, and that is so sad.
Do you think that there will be much of an attendance at B.B. King in April?
It's going to come to campus.
Yeah.
Probably from the campus, probably not from the community at large. That's just like a whole nother city. You know, it's like the campus is unto itself, and the community doesn't come in, and the folks on campus are reluctant to come off. You know, and really probably for a young person. And now I don't know everything that's going on because, like I said, don't have any kids in my house anymore. You know, they're all grown up and gone. But I would just say that probably there's more going on for young adults, and I'm talking about 18 to 22, 25, something like that, going on campus than there is in the community. And I know that's true for blacks. There's nothing that, you know, there is absolutely nothing for young black kids to do in the community. Like I said, when we were teenagers, and for some years after, even when my daughter was a teenager, there used to be dances, you know, and there was sometimes police. Not really supervision, but there would be chaperones, I guess.
That's what I was going to ask. If someone were to organize a dance for, like, let's say, high school students, because I can't control 18 to 25-year-olds because I'm only 19, but, like, if someone were to organize a dance in the community for high school students, how would they, do you know how to go about that? Or, like, do you have to...
I don't even know because... the places where they used to have the dances for teens aren't even there anymore.
Because I know, like, we have like a lot of the Greeks have their parties at the Horizon Convention Center. But I didn't know, like, do they know how to act, right? I guess you could say.
Honey, I don't know, and you're probably asking the wrong person, because I'm at the age now where most kids are crazy, okay? Yeah. And it's getting scary. When you have little 3-year-olds telling their parents to shut up and what they're not going to do, and kicking at their parents and swinging at their parents, it's a whole new world to me. I'm not a part of that one. It's beyond me. I don't get it. And kids nowadays have been raised, I feel like we've lost a generation, because kids have been raised, they have not been taught to respect anything. Not themselves, not their parents, not authority figures or the teachers or anything. It's mine, it's me, and I want it now. And if it's not going to be my way, then I'm either going to destroy the way or there won't be no way. Right. And we've lost a whole generation, and I think it's because we got away from the discipline aspect of it, and the fear was instilled in us that if we chastise our children physically, then it's abuse, and we're going to go to jail, or my kid will call the police on me, and all those kind of things. And Dr. Spock needs to be dug up and smacked 40 times. Yeah. Okay, because what's happened is you've got a whole generation of young people that are absolutely out of their tree.
Do you think maybe...
Not all of them. Not all of them. I don't want to allude to that.
That's right. Do you think maybe the next generation of parents will realize that the last generation was so off base? And
I would certainly hope so, because nobody wants to live with a monster.
Yeah.
You know, and some of these little kids are literally monsters. You know, I've been to the mall or the grocery stores, and I have seen little kids, I mean what I consider toddlers, stand up and snatch stuff off the shelves and throw it because they don't have what they want. You know,
I saw that at Walmart.
My kid.
The kid goes, "Shut up," and the mom hauls off and smacks it, and I was like, I mean, and it was just a smack. Like, I mean, all the kid did was like pick up something. It was like, "Oh, what is this?" And the mom was, "I don't." Blah blah blah. And the kid was like, "Well, shut up," and I was
that's
that was just never would happen.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, and that's what it's parents like that give spanking and other forms of physical chastisement a bad rap. You know, but the Bible says, "Spare the rod and spoil the child," and that God chastises us. You see, because He loves us. Okay, and when we allow our children to do whatever they want, whenever they want, it's not helping them. Everybody needs boundaries. And when we remove those boundaries, it's basically saying, in a sense, I don't care what you do.
I mean, people don't do that with their dogs. They don't let their dogs run crazy, you know? Gotta put a boundary up.
And I'm not going to have nothing in my house that's not going to mind me. Not going to abuse anything, you know? But you're not going to stand up in my face and tell me to shut up and call me a bunch of ugly names. It's not happening. Not and you remain to have all your teeth. No. But see, there's kids, and I see them on television, on those talk shows. Yeah. I thought, my goodness, how do these parents live with those kids? I mean,
Yeah. Where did you grow up in Muncie?
Industry.
Industry.
It's the area, you know where McDonald's is on Madison? You know where Madison Street is?
Original.
Yeah. South of that.
So is that where?
Towards where Faulkner's is.
So is that
where Faulkner's is. In fact, I live around the corner from Faulkner.
But so the people, because I went to Garfield Elementary last night. Were those kids? Do they live in Industry?
Yeah.
No. Because I know there was a family there though that lived in Whiteley, but their kids went to that school because they went to that Boys and Girls Club right there. So I guess I was there.
Yeah, you were in Industry.
What did your parents do to make a living?
My mother was a domestic, and my dad was a factory worker.
Okay. guess I was, what do you think is the best opportunity when you were growing up and now for blacks in Muncie?
As far as jobs go?
The opportunities when I was growing up was the factory, which have been ripped for the last few years, okay, or if not outright closed. You know, most of them have suffered
Was it
reductions.
difficult for blacks to get in the factory, would you say?
Initially it was, and there was a couple of federal lawsuits, and the attitudes may not have changed as much as some would have liked them to, but there was compliance with the law, which opened the door for of opportunities for many other blacks. And that was probably the job of choice for my generation, and which probably wasn't a bad idea because a lot of the people I went to school with are retiring. Because they got, you know, with their age and their
benefits.
Years of service, now they're eligible for retirement. They've got like 30, 35 years on the job now, and they can retire. Yeah, and they're still relatively young. You know. So right now, I don't know what the job of choice would be, because you know that the automobile industry has declined to the point that even just last month, or maybe it was December, that Delco, Remy America, in Anderson decided to close.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're still even today going through that. So the factory jobs just aren't there anymore like they were back when I was young and looking for work. For young people, I would say the best opportunity would be to go to school. That's what I would suggest. And then get the hell out. In no uncertain terms.
So what state does that leave Muncie in without any new young black leaders?
Every parent wants to see their children do well, better than they themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true with any parent. That's not color or race specific. Okay? And for young blacks in Muncie, that's just not possible. The opportunities are not there. The cards are stacked against them when it comes to that. And they have to look to the future too. You know, even though you're 19 and you're only going to be 19 once, one day you're going to be 25 or 30 and you're going to have a wife and 2 kids, and McDonald's will not support you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Or Burger King or Pizza Hut, or, you know. And you have to look to where the best opportunities are for your family economically.
Do you think the black community here is going to suffer without leaders?
Absolutely.
Like really good people that have stepped
Absolutely.
up?
There's no question about it, because it's already happened. I can see it. For example, the most of the kids that are degreed that went to school with my son and my daughter, and it's an 8-year difference between them.
Mm-hmm.
So that went to school, obtained their degrees in their chosen fields. Many of those kids would have liked to come back home because this is home, you know, but they couldn't get a job. They were either overqualified, of which there is no such thing, okay, according to the law. You either have the qualifications or you don't, you know. But they were not hired for positions, so reluctantly they were forced to relocate, and what you're left with is an aging black population, okay, and I would even add a word in there, aging ethical black population, because many of the older people here were people that had good work ethics, you know, that contributed to the community, the building and shaping of the community. Even though they were black, they were a stabilizing force. Those people are like Hurley. Those people are aging now. And there's few people like myself who are community oriented, who do things within the community and stuff, but we're so few. And I'm tired. And I'm not near the age that Hurley is. Okay? But I'm tired.
About this.
Yeah.
With ethic and...
Yeah. And then what you're left with, that next generation, like my kids, they're gone. Those kids with sense, as I call it, they're gone. And they're not coming back here.
So are you saying that the kids from Muncie that have good work ethic and have the strive to do better,
and the perseverance and the dedication and commitment, they are out of here. They were not mentored, they were not nurtured, and they're gone. And I don't blame them. You know, an example is my son. Here's a kid selected by the State Department as one of 10 students in the country to do an internship overseas in Korea for the State Department, and he can't get a job. Why would he want to come back to Muncie?
Right, exactly.
To sell dope? You see what I'm saying? Because people are going to have to eat. And if they can't get meaningful work legally, what alternative is it for them?
Yep.
Okay? So, I mean, and that's what you're going to be left with. You're going to be left with an aging population with a what I call a work ethic, if you will. People that were committed to their communities and wanted nice neighborhoods and worked hard to have, you know, a decent place to live and to send their kids to school. You know, all the things that goes along with that good work ethic. They're old people. And the people like a number of the kids that I went to school with in my generation, they don't come back to Muncie. Maybe once every 4 years when we have the Back to Muncie celebration. You know, they're California, New Jersey, New York, and Texas, and I mean Arizona, Phoenix, all over the creation. Okay? Where they could find meaningful work. And then, of course, their children are not here, but the ones of us who were left and had children that went to college, you know, and did things worthwhile and were dedicated, they couldn't find jobs. They're gone. And what you're left with, at one end of the spectrum, you've got those older people with the work ethic, and you've got the thugs, the drug dealers, the non-committed people, for lack of a better word, that you know, don't really care whether there's a better life or in Muncie, or they're not going to contribute very much to the welfare of their neighborhoods. You know, in a positive manner, I'm speaking of.
Is there anything in the community that helps with these problematic areas? Like, why are you laughing? I don't know.
No, baby. No.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
No.
You know,
There is not, because even though there have been attempts, there's always been a block, a barrier erected to prohibit that. That's why a number of our young people leave. That are not many of my son's friends who went to different schools around the state, in and out of state, I'll put it like that. That came back, you know, for the summers and wanted to do things, and, you know, just were real gung-ho because they've been away to school and they've learned different things and got new, fresh ideas, and they're just, stop it. They're squashed.
Really?
Yeah.
Within the community?
Yeah. But one facet or another, just, you know, it's almost like we want things to remain the same. You know, and kids want to grow, they want to, just like you, want to try new things, and you're energetic, and, you know, you can have a vision, and you know, and then I come along and say, there's no way you're going to do that. It won't work. That crushes your spirit.
I'm sorry.
You know, that's okay. that crushes your, it crushes your spirit. We had a young lady here about 4 or 5 years ago that had obtained a degree from UCLA. She was a Muncie native, and she had gone west and then out there. She had gotten in school, and she got her degree, and believe she may have even gotten a master's. I know she had her bachelor's. Mm-hmm. Not real sure about the master's, but she wanted to establish a Black History Museum, and she was squashed.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I never knew all the particulars of it, but she had called me. She was so hurt, and she told me, Miss Phyllis said, we need that, and I know that it could work. She said, but I can't get any help from anybody. That girl left, went back to California, and established one out there and is doing very well.
You wonder, because I know Hurley's worked so hard, and he's written so many things, but yet I don't think it's that known about.
Ashley was saying something about, like, having a dance for high school kids to go to. Would they even go? Have the generations just gotten so secluded
Probably
from
not in great numbers the first time, but as the few that attended spread the word. We had a good time, so-and-so was there and so-and-so. But then too, kids have changed so much now. I don't think, when I was a kid, and even when my daughter and my son were young, there was a lot more social interaction through church or school activities or what have you. And now I think computers and computer games and that kinds of things have dulled those kinds of interactions to some extent. I haven't, seen, any studies or anything, but just from my own observation, the kids are very, very, sophisticated when it comes to going through for example, my grandson's 6, and I know how to turn it on. That's about the extent of my computer literacy. But anyway, this 6-year-old, he can go through those programs. He said, "Oh, Granny, we're going to look at this," and he'll just be working and going through, and I'm like, okay. And he can be on the computer all day. He's got programs in there, learning programs and stuff that he'll go to, and he'll play and he'll read and he'll do games and he'll, draw and all this kind of stuff. But he's not interacting with anybody.
Right. Well,
his social skills are going to be, to me, diminished because you can't carry on a conversation with a screen.
Right.
I mean, you can, but
Then they like crazy.
Yeah.
like with this project I'm doing in the school systems, and I don't know if it's because, I've noticed interaction between, the high school students. I don't know about, my age group that lives in Muncie. I'm not familiar with any of this, but, just from being in the high schools, and I don't know if it's because they were all there in a group, and so they were all interacting, talking. I don't know what they do outside of school. Mm-hmm. And, from reading, the field notes on the basketball game, they're all interacting. To my understanding, I think it would be a lot easier to get, people of the high school age, because they don't have dances and stuff to come out, than it would be to get people of young adult age to come out.
No, where would you envision them coming out? On campus or somewhere in the community? See, because a lot of the kids are going to be intimidated by that campus.
No, I would.
See, and it would almost be, you'd have to select a neutral site in the community. I have to go to the restroom, excuse me.
The time part of the game, that's something. It's more than nothing.
Do they have homecoming dances and stuff, though?
Yeah, but you only have a homecoming once a year.
Yeah. They all come out for that, I assume, because they don't have the opportunity to ever go to a dance again.
It's just a lot different than, and for us, it was like, when I was a teenager, there were always chaperones. We had dances, Then when my daughter was a teenager.
Which high school did they go to?
They were both graduated from Burroughs.
You said that, okay.
Mm-hmm. But, of course, kids from our church and stuff, they went to South Side or Central. a lot of them, but the adults had more activities or were more welcoming, or because when my kids were home, I mean, it might be 20 kids at my house. Mm-hmm. The music would be going. It was always live, always. The music, and I didn't care. I mean, it didn't bother me as long as everybody was mannerly, because kids are going to be loud and obnoxious and all that kind of stuff. That's a given. But, and I didn't mind them, playing the music, and they would play, well, back then it was Atari, and the early Nintendo. I was bad on Pac-Man, too. I was a Pac-Man champ on the Atari. But, and they would all be there, and some would be watching TV, or they'd be playing Monopoly, or, just, yeah. And, or they'd be, they'd come long enough to fix them a bunch of hot dogs or something like that and go play basketball, and every so often I'd allow the kids to have parties, and of course I'd be there, right. And they'd play cards and stuff, and I'd fix, snacks for them and stuff. But it's like anymore, the parents just aren't.
I don't know either.
I don't know if they're too tired, or they don't have time, or they don't care, or they're too interested in doing their own thing, and I don't know what the answer is. I just know it's just
kids don't do the things we do anymore.
They really don't.
I mean, and we're not old is the thing. Like, for them to have gone, when I was 8, 10, 12 years old, people were always over at my house. We'd be outside playing basketball, playing baseball, just doing stuff. So you weren't, sitting around doing nothing.
There's a lot. My house sits on one property. There's a lot next door that I own. Then there's a corner lot that's owned by the man across the street. And especially in the summertime, or at least warm weather, we'd put up the volleyball net, and it'd be kids. We'd play volleyball, and then I'd be out there with them too sometimes. And then in the fall, the boys would be out there playing football, and stuff. And I always had a yard full of kids. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the little ones would be riding their bikes or playing, like when Sasha, my granddaughter, comes up, the little girls and kids in the neighborhood, they'll come over and they'll play kickball in the lot, or they'll play softball in the lot.
Our summers were I was in the softball league, and I was on the drum line, so that was what I did in my summer, but we never had, a place where all the kids would go at all. We would just go have our own cliques and go do something. Even when I lived in Greencastle, it was predominantly town, nothing to do. We had to find our own fun, and, then we would just have, maybe, I probably had 4 girls in total. It wasn't a big group hanging out. We would go to the basketball games, and they would have a dance afterwards. But it wasn't everybody coming over to play basketball, everybody going to the park to just chill.
Sometimes it was just 5 or 6 of us that would, play basketball or do that.
Well, there was the core group of kids, which consisted basically of the kids that went to our church. Mm-hmm. That would be over all the time. And they, in turn, would go, from house to house. Maybe this weekend they'd all be at my house. Mm-hmm. And then maybe they wouldn't be back there in those numbers for another 4 or 5 weeks, because they'd be at your house or your house or your house in the interim. Mm-hmm. And the parents would seem to be a lot more tolerant.
Open to it. They wanted the kids. That's how my mom was. At my house, she was like, if you've nowhere to go, come back to our house. You can all hang out here. I'd rather you be here than...
That's where I was.
Driving around.
My mom worked in Indianapolis when I lived in Greencastle. So kids weren't hanging at my house because there was nobody there. Mm-hmm. So I would always be somebody else's house. My brother, me and my brother's still not close because he's always gone at somebody else's house. But they could never, when it was time for me to be at home and stuff, my mom would be asleep because she'd have to get up extra early to make the trip to Indianapolis. By the time I got to Indianapolis, I was in high school. So we were going to the clubs. And it's an all-age club, no alcohol, security there. and it was a good outlet.
Mm-hmm.
It's just surprising that now it's like.
Well, it's you don't have the adult supervision or chaperones, and most parents with any kind of sense of responsibility are just not going to let their kids go and not know the particulars.
Mm-hmm.
What's it about, where is it, and if they're nosy like me, well, who's going to be there?
That's my mom. Always knew my friends' parents, where they lived, and everything else.
And give me that number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was just
I had
what they call standing operating procedures.
That was so annoying. I always had to give my parents the phone number of where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm trying to leave. Can't you just leave me alone for a second? Just give me the phone number and you can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom, now that I think about it, I'm like, I wonder if she even cared. No, she didn't. But she was working 2 jobs for a minute there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were eating like frozen pizza. People wonder why I'm such a picky eater. It was because I was accustomed to frozen pizza, microwave with fries. Stuff like that. My grandma lived right up the street. She would come down and check on us, but I would basically always be gone. My brother would be gone with everybody, because he was into sports, and so everybody.
How much older is he than you?
My brother's younger than I. He's 18 and I'm 19. And then I had an older sister, and she's 22 now.
Mm.
And she was, when my mom was working 2 jobs, she was on her wild streaks, so I never seen her. But I grew up just fine. I made my own rules.
You make do what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was blessed in that my kids were teenagers, I was always able to be home. It was kind of rough when I was going to school full time, and I worked 2 part-time jobs. And I worked, and one of them was working at nights at the detention center, because sometimes I'd be so tired I'd be almost cross-eyed. It seemed like time I got home and started to supper, and the kids come home, I would just be practically cross-eyed.
Yeah.
Because I had to get up at 10:30 or no later than 11, because I had to be there at midnight. I was 12 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then a lot of times I would have that morning person come in at 7 if I worked through the week, because basically I work weekends, nights or weekends. And I would have that daytime person, if it was through the week, ask them to come in an hour early so I could leave, get home, get the kids ready to school, take them.
When we were younger, my mom did that. She worked, went to school, she would make us breakfast, and that would be our time with her. But by the time we got home, she was gone to class, gone to work and stuff. But, I don't know. I never had a curfew in my life. I was always on the streets, but it was fun.
Oh, honey, I always had a curfew. And my kids knew, if I told you to be home at 10 o'clock, you better be home at 10 o'clock, because Mommy don't play.
Yeah.
I'll never forget one time my daughter had went to a dance, and I told her, you could stay till 11 or 12 or something, I don't know. And she was at the age where she, I'll just test Bobby, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Right. She was just shaking them down, hey, on the dance floor, and she turned around, I was standing right there looking at her.
Oh, that's great.
She about had a heart attack. I never said a word. When she spun around, she spun right in my face, and I just looked at her. And she said, I'm on my way, Mom. And I turned and walked out. She beat me home. I'm driving. She was there when I got there.
Hilarious.
I always ended up, might as well have had a curfew because all my friends had one. So I was always home, when they get home, I'd go home.
I had a friend with no curfew, and I always thought it was so weird, because she'd be like, well, what do you want to do now? I'm like, it's 11 o'clock. And I was always really tired. I'd be like, oh, man, it's 11 o'clock. I have to get up at 5.
Want a boundary, and then after they become adults, like my daughter, for example, my oldest grandson is 16. My daughter's 30. terrible. I think she's 35. 35 or 36. But anyway, her oldest is 16. Well, he'll be 17 on Valentine's Day in a couple of weeks or a few days. But now she can understand what I was about when she was that age. Mm-hmm. You know, you're just not going to rip and run, you know, and I will know your friends, and, you know, I will know where you're going, and you will be home at a certain, and we were talking when I was down there for Christmas, and she said, I used to think you were so mean. She said, but you know what? She said, I am glad you did all those things. Mm-hmm. You know, because I didn't care. Be mad at me. I'm mad at you, too, when you don't come home on time.
When we moved to Indianapolis, I was in high school, and my mom was home then. She didn't have to leave earlier. She tried to change. But that didn't work for me because I went all them years without him. But for my brother, he's a senior. No, he's a junior, and she's still where he's on. After he got his license, he was on strict control. That's weird to me because it never happened to me or my sister.
Well, it's always hard to change horses in midstream, even if you're not able to be there all the time. And most single parents do have to work. But if those boundaries are established and the kids are made to adhere to the rules, then you don't have to worry about changing them. Now, see, I'm a single parent. I worked all my life. So there were times that I worked 2 8-hour jobs, you know, just to make ends meet. I've drawn one welfare check in my life. And that's all it took for me to know I could not live on this. These people are full of crap. Okay? These are not livable wages. I don't care what nobody says. And that was because I went on disability and my insurance hadn't kicked in. Mm-hmm. And there was like six or 8 weeks that I had gone without any kind of paycheck. I had run out of money. And I went to the welfare to get, you know, and the time I got that one check, I realized I can't live off of this. Okay? I make more money working. Food stamps helped a little bit that 1 month. And I was grateful for that because it got me over the hump and my insurance kicked in and I was cool. But, you know, if you have to, with having to take on the responsibilities of the household, you have to have cooperation from all the family members. And if you have the rules and the boundaries established, then that cooperation is a little bit easier to maintain. Because you can't do your chores at home if you don't have a curfew or you don't have rules that say, you know, you can only have friends over, or you can only go over to Susie's house once your work is done. Mm-hmm. You know, and I was raised by both my parents, I was the only child, but I still had rules. You know, I wouldn't even dare ask my mother, could I go outside and go next door to your house and play, you know, knowing that my work wasn't done. You know, that my chores hadn't been completed.
Yeah, we would get help for that.
Yeah, now if my work was done, it wasn't really, you know, too much of a big deal other than you be home before dark or, you know, did you call her mother to see if it's okay if you come over for a little bit? Is it okay with her mom? Right. You know, those kinds of things. But now kids don't have any boundaries at all. They don't ask, can they go? They just go. Mm-hmm. They don't have the courtesy to ask the other parent, is it okay? Because some of my son's friends, at least one of them, I'll put it like that, has come over like 9 o'clock in the morning. Not that I mind, because I'd rather be him there, because obviously this is where he wants to be and feels comfortable at. But he'd like come over at 9 o'clock in the morning. He'd be there all day. 3 meals till 10, 11 o'clock at night. His mother, for days. His mother never called. Never called to say, well, is Joe over there? Or do you mind that Joe's over there? Or tell Joe it's time to come home? Or nothing.
Some of my brother's friends are. And let my mom not be there.
Let my son be gone all day and I don't hear from you. Right. You better duck when you open that door because you're going to get it.
My brother tried to test my mom once. Never happened.
That doesn't work because you know that for a parent, that's a lot of anxiety. If something happened to him,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and kids don't realize that. But yeah, you're gonna tell me where you going, and just like my son that's home now, that has that works. When he gets ready to leave to go to work, he calls me.
Mm-hmm.
When he comes back home from work, he calls me. You know, if he wants to do something after he gets home from work, is your work done? You know, did you do this? Did you feed the dogs? Did you let the dogs out? Blah, blah, whatever needs to be done. You know, then once you get your work done, you call me back. But chances are I'll be off from work by then. We'll talk about it when I get home. You know, I don't believe in, because that ethic, that work ethic begins at home.
Mm-hmm.
Giving young people responsibilities. And, you know, like even the little ones. That's next door. Having the, stop, please. Having the simple chores like empty your waste cans. You go around the house, you empty, you know, like when my grandkids come. Even the 5-year-old can empty the waste cans into the bigger receptacle. You know, because it's just paper and envelopes and pop cans. Simple stuff that they can carry. That's a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to Granny's house, this is what you're going to have to do. You know, I don't have washing windows or doing floors, but that's a little thing that teaches. And you're going to pick your toys up. Those are your toys that you're playing with. You are responsible for those toys. You clean up behind yourself. You know, just small things. Then as they grow, like my granddaughter's 10, she's almost 11, she has additional stuff to do. You know, you feed the dogs. You give them, you know, fresh water. Stuff that she can handle, as well as help your little brothers, you know, pick up the clothes in the bathroom or whatever it is. And as they get bigger and bigger, they have more and more responsibility. But for some reason, I just don't think that we are teaching our children and preparing them for the real world. And then when they get to a college campus and are basically on their own, they don't know what to do.
Right.
And then when they get out in the real world, they are really lost. And what happens? They end up right back home because they can't make it. Not in my house. If I teach you the first time, you don't get it, shame on you. No, my kids have been real good. They haven't. My son came back from Michigan prior to him going to Georgia. He came back, but that was just short term. But you read so many, or hear about so many young people or young parents coming back home to mom and dad to live, and it's not just the kid; they're bringing the grandchildren as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of sad. You guys got anything else? Any other questions?
I'm trying to think. You gave us some great information about businesses, I think, and how the Muncie community is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just really, as far as the business aspect of it, it really hasn't changed very much in the few decades that I've been here. It hasn't changed a whole lot, which is really amazing to me, because at one time, and I believe it was probably in the 30s or 40s, there were businesses. There were black businesses thriving, you know. And now, I mean, if you're not an undertaker or a beautician, barber, I mean, you can almost forget it. I mean, there are no little boutiques or. Mm-hmm. Now down on Madison, Betty Jo has a little mini dress shop, but that's not been there. But let's see, that might have been open a year and a half, maybe. I would say on the safe side, two years or less.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, But I can, and it's on like a Madison is a main thoroughfare, you know. How her business is doing, I really don't know. I've stopped in there a couple of times and bought a couple of things from her, you know, just that I like. She's got some very nice things in there. Very expensive.
What type of stuff does she have?
She has just a ladies' boutique with, she sells basically suits, like real dressy, kind of fancy suits, hats. There's a section for men where she sells shirts. I think she sells ties too. I think she sells ties. And some jewelry. It's not a very big, it's probably maybe about as big as this room.
Oh, really?
So it's relatively small. But she's got some very, very nice items in there. Really nice.
Do you know what the name of it is?
No. It's on the corner of Madison and 8th, I believe. On the northwest corner. And it's her husband, it's on one side of the building, it's a barbecue. What's the name of it? Pitt's Barbecue or something? And then the next door is like, but it's really one big building, and it's like the barbecue is on one side and the dress shop's on the other. Mm-hmm. Other than that, and that is the only, well, no, I can't say that. Miss Coleman's been there forever, but I don't know that she does very well. I think most of her business comes from out of town. But that's it. And I know over the years there have been those that have wanted to establish some kind of business adventure, but there's always been barriers of one sort or another. And generally it's finances. Beth Quarles is a businesswoman, black, that I've worked with on a number of projects. And she built the Daily Apartments. And she could not get community support or financial backing in Muncie until she went outside the community and got the necessary funding and what she needed to get that building built. And then everybody wanted to jump on board and come up. Oh, isn't it wonderful? The first building of this kind in the country, and it's so unique. Because it was the first truly inclusive apartment building complex in the country. It was a prototype. It's completely, it's very, there's units for disabled, you know, with, it's a beautiful.
Where is it?
It's in Whiteland, right on the river.
What's the lady's name?
Beth Quarles, Quarles. The bathroom, the whole apartment for the disabled is accessible. They could even take their wheelchair and roll it right in the shower. You know, I mean, it's really neat. The oven doors are low. The dishwasher's low. You know, so that it's not one of its kind in the country, and then everybody wanted to jump. Well, you know, Beth Whitney, you know, and it was just crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, she had tried so hard to get local support, and wasn't able to do so. Bless you. I don't know.
Well, thank you. I think we got a lot of great stuff today.
Well, good. I'm glad that you did.
And we'll definitely be in touch.
Okay. If you think of something